Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Dicking Around in the Garage. So, I already warned my wife that if she hears loud 4-letter words and stuff being thrown, not to panic, that's perfectly normal. I don't know, we'll probably close that door because if that glass gets broke, it's not that big of a deal. So, what are we doing today? Well, come on over here and I'll show you. I got my daddy's Jeep back in the garage. He's got some power steering line leakage issues. So, I guess we're going to fix them things. How, I don't know. But from under the vehicle I can tell this one's leaking right here. It's rusted out. So, yay, fun. Right? So the first thing we gotta do is, believe it or not, it's gonna sound stupid to y'all, but, we gotta drain the antifreeze. Way to go, engineers! Good job! Yeah, because I can't see. Can y'all see? I mean, the power steering pump's right here. I've been underneath. I can see one of the lines, but I can't see the other ones. So the only thing I'm thinking is we tear the front end off this some butt and go from there, I guess. I don't know. I miss the old days. So anyway, that's what we're doing. I'll crawl under there and drain the antifreeze and probably show you guys the leak. And then record a little bit here and there or whatever I feel is important. Or whatever I feel like bitching about. That'll probably be what this video turns into. But, well, we ain't getting nothing done standing here talking to you guys, are we? Shucks. Okay. Can you guys see? Here. Right there. That's where it's leaking. And he don't just want the one changed. They run up there, which I can't get to. My arms are too big. Can't get to it back here. So yeah, thanks. But first thing we're going to do is pop this right here loose. You see it? Yep, pick caulk. We're gonna pop that loose, drain some antifreeze out of this thing, just to be on the safe side. Yeah, we'll pull the surge tank off. We'll go from there. I'll bring you guys back in once we get the surge tank off. Oh, what a joke. Yeah. Yeah. I love you engineers. I really, really do. I love you. Anyway, let's show you this crap. Alright, so we have the coolant overflow and the washer fluid reservoir off. Alright? Which, that was fun, to say the least. If you look close, we've got the airbox and the battery out because there's a bolt here, a bolt here. Oh, wait, hold on. I ain't done. I forgot to tell you. You gotta unbolt the horn too. So, we got the horn unbolted. Why? Because you can't get to the lower bolt. And you can't get to for the reservoir. And then you need to pull the fan shroud off because that's going to give you more room. Which I don't have a problem pulling like a fan shroud off, right? But here, come on guys, enough is freaking enough. You see this box right here? That's all the electronic shit. Alright? We need to throw that shit away. The fuel injection systems we need to throw away. We need to go back to carbureted engines. And, you know, the world was a better place because we were breathing them fumes. That's why. And you could actually work on something. You had an overflow bottle over there or over here on the fender. It was out of the way. And your washer fluid was out of the way. And all this stuff here was open. But that's not all. So to get the fan out, there's a harness right there that we have to unplug, which I'll try to get you guys in there to show you. Let's see if you guys can see. Down there, there's a plug that we're going to unplug right in the center of the fan, but then there's a bolt over here by this plug that we got to undo. I don't get it. You used to be able to change power steering line out in like 10 minutes. Seriously, this ain't necessary. Not necessary at all. And people wonder why it costs so much to get something fixed. They do. They wonder why. Well, because mechanics got to deal with this crap, and then we got to become contortionists and everything else, and magicians, and it's just no. Somehow or another, we need to put an end to this crap. There's just some things that might not have been perfect. I'm not saying they were, but they were good enough. And sometimes good enough is just that, good enough. Alright, too many four-letter words. Be a mechanic, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Yep, well, sometimes. I don't know. You just gotta use a little alcohol to keep your sanity. Yeah, now I know why mechanics drink. So, we got some Jim Beam probably to start off with. And then, once that's gone, to ease the mood and keep us light, I guess we'll do some butterscotch moonshine. And then, well, when things get real bad, we'll turn it up to the clear stuff. Don't be a mechanic. Alright, so, little update. We got that out. Okay? We got the reservoir we just saw, we got it up. Showed you what we had to do there. Alright, now, I'll show you guys this doodad deal. Here's your fan and your fan shroud. All built into one. Good job, engineers. Fan resistor. Well, it tucks in here like a goofy bastard like that, and then your lungs go over. But your plug is here. Good job, engineers. You gave us plenty of room to access that. No, they didn't. So, we had a fun time and a lot of four-letter words getting that out of there. Alright? Some of you are asking, well, you're just changing power steering lines. Why are you turning all that out? Well, hold on, I'll show you. Back at the beginning of the video, you guys saw the view from underneath the vehicle, right? Well, hold on. let's show you the top side view. Here's your top side view. Now, let me get my demonstrator. You know what? I need somebody who likes me, and there ain't many of y'all out there. I need somebody who likes me to go to bendinbendin.com and get me my own bob. I need a bob. Anyway, this line right here, we gotta replace. Hold down clamp right here. Fan shroud right here. No access. Okay? Transmit or power steering lines. Going to the power steering rack down here. Fan shroud, fan in, no access. Okay? None at all to get down there on that crap. So, yeah. This is going to be a lot of fun. I need to be careful of what I tell my dad I'll do for him. Not really, because he's my father and he knows I'd do just about anything I possibly could for him. In fact, even though I'm bitching a whole lot, I was underneath of it, found transmission lines leaking. So, tomorrow we're getting transmission lines. Because we got all this crap apart. So, yeah, now I know somebody in the comments is going to say, why don't you just watch a YouTube video and find out the easy way to do it? Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but if you're one of those people who are thinking that way, you do not know how mechanics think. We don't go watch YouTube videos. Real mechanics, okay? Not technicians, mechanics. We do not go and watch other people's YouTube videos on how to do shit. We figure it out ourselves because that's what we get paid to do. And when we accomplish it, there's a sense of pride about it. You know, not to toot my own horn. But, yeah. It's more of a pride thing. We figure shit out because that's the way mechanics have done it for years. Now, technicians and you YouTube certified mechanics, y'all are a breed of your own. You're some kind of special. Yep. I might put you guys up there with the engineers. Alright, we got that one. So that's one end off. We brought you guys back in here not for a complaining bitch session like the rest of the video has been this far. This is actually a pointer for if you're doing this yourself, which don't do this yourself. Take it to Jeep and pay to let them do it, because I'm a poor man, or I would pay somebody to do this. Anyway, let me get the thingamajigger. Let's switch you guys up to the selfie stick. What'd you do with the selfie stick, guys? It's over there. Yeah, see that? That's the fitting that goes into the steering rack. And that's the line that's leaking that I showed you guys. And that's where it goes into the steering rack. You may be asking, why'd you cut it? Well, one, we're replacing it. And two, I'll show you. Alright, pay attention. Pay very close attention, because this is useful information, alright? Now, where's Bob? I think I have a bleep noise. I might try. Alright. Here's the hole this line goes into, right? I took the belt off because I couldn't get a wrench in there. When I put a wrench in there, guess what? It went around it off. So, instead of rounding it off and causing more problems, because this job is already a pain in the ass, like level, well, you guys see what we brought out. So, cut it off, put a socket and a ratchet on it and take it out. Alright? That's the best advice that I can give you. And that's an 18 millimeter. Alright? Now we gotta get the other end off. Then we gotta find out where these other lines go. I'm probably pulling the radiator, honestly. Don't be surprised if you guys come back and the whole front end of this thing is just tore apart. Because that's honestly where I'm at with it. I'm going to take enough stuff apart to make it as easy as possible on me. And that's the way mechanics think and do things. So, yeah. Something else, stone bolt. I don't know what to think about this. I just don't. It's not that bad of a job, but it doesn't have to be all this. It just doesn't. So hold on, I'll show y'all what I'm talking about. Alright, so you guys know we had to take the fan and everything out so we could access the power steering pump to access the lines, because you got a pressure line and a return line, obviously, to your power steering pump. Well, your power steering pump bolts up right here. Here's your return line on your reservoir. Right? So that pump sits up there like yay. And you tell me how you're gonna get that out of there without, hold on, without the special cable tool for the clamp, because I don't have it. And at the same time, the nipple on that reservoir is plastic, so I want to cut the line off, just because, you know, plastic, it gets brittle, it can break, so let's not take any unnecessary chances. You know, so it's 3 bolts that hold the power steering pump on. If it was mine, I had the money, or even though it's my dad's, if I had the money, I'd buy him a power steering pump, put a power steering pump on it. As far as, if you're just doing power steering lines, you don't gotta take all the radiator stuff out that we took out. I wasn't able to get the radiator all the way out, which I don't need to. I just need to get that side over there loose, because the lines actually go to the AC condenser. Silly, right? They've split the system. Goofy. Who would have thunk it? But we have that out. Now we need to get this line off. We want to do that clamp. And your power steering cooler actually mounts up in here. I went ahead and took the whole thing out because it had the ear clamps on it, and it was just easier for me to cut the ear clamps with it out. And if you can see over there, the cooler is bleeding all over everything. So, you got your loop-de-loop line that goes from your rack to your pump. And then you got a line that goes from your rack to your cooler, and then from your cooler to your reservoir. Interesting. You only need 2. Power steering back in the 80s, just saying, was a little more simplistic, and it worked just as good. You know, sometimes good enough is good enough. Anyway, we need to get that line off, and we need to keep track of what line goes to the top of the cooler, what line goes to the bottom of the cooler. I think there's a flow restriction valve in the new return line, I think. and that'll probably go on the reservoir side. I'm not 100% sure. So we'll get that off there and we'll find out. But we'll probably do that tomorrow because my light batteries are going to be dying. I need to be able to see. It's getting late. The wife's already mad at me because she's heard too many 4-letter words. She's trying to sleep and the kids are trying to sleep. So it's time for me to go ahead and get a shower. And we'll see you guys in the morning. Because we got to do transmission lines too. Joy. One more thought. I know this is the way it works and the way the engineers think, because they've done recalls on semi-trucks for this very same reason and changed it and gave you something goofy like this. So this is your pressure line coming off your pump to your rack and pinion. Alright, go down to your rack and pinion, come out of your rack and pinion, go to your cooler. Keep that in mind, we have a cooler, it's sitting down here. Goes to the cooler, and then back up to the reservoir. Now, if you guys can see, I can't show you in the vehicle. So, this top line here goes into the power steering pump, screws into the power steering pump. The bottom line screws into the rack and pinion. Now, where this top line screws in, this bottom line screws into the rack. Where this top line screws into the power steering pump, and this bottom line screws into the rack and pinion. Now you guys see something there? Look here and look here. That's damn near a straight shot down. But no, we can't do that. We have to give you something longer so the fluid has time to flow and time to cool before it gets from the pump to the rack. If that's the case, what do we have a transmission cooler for? Like, seriously, what do we have a transmission cooler for? We have not a transmission cooler, but a power steering cooler. Because that's what we're working on. Well, we're doing transmission cooler lines too. But if that's the case, what do we have a power steering cooler for? Let's go to your power steering pump, which is directly above your rack. Why would you not make it easy and run a line directly? Instead, you gotta give somebody this cobbled mess to take all this bullshit apart whenever these crimps fail. Because they do. You know, even back in the 80s, they failed. But still yet, back in the 80s, you had a steering gearbox. You had a line coming off the power steering pump going to the gearbox, coming off the gearbox, returning back up to, guess what? Power steering reservoir. If it worked that way for all them years, why? They give you more crap that you don't need and charge you more money. But it ain't right. It ain't right at all. And I'm sorry that this video is essentially a bitch fest. But hopefully you guys can understand why mechanics and shops charge so much money to do stuff. Number one, because they're expensive. You know, I miss working in the fleet world. I do. Because I have a hard time sleeping at night sometimes with what, you know, gets charged to customers. Because, well, yeah, it took me that long to do something. It's It's not their fault, and it's not due to lack of inexperience. It's just everything is such a pain in the neck to work on nowadays. And that goes from your semi trucks all the way down to your automobiles. It's nasty. So essentially, I guess what I'm trying to say is give your mechanic a break. Give that guy a break, because y'all have no clue what they're going through to get your vehicle fixed. No clue. So maybe this will enlighten some people. And I know it's going to be a long video, and I know people don't watch long videos. But still yet. Why do we need this? This is a cooling line. That's why it's shaped like this. That's why it's so long. That's why you have the metal here instead of just all rubber. Kind of like looping back around. It's all metal. That's why they do it. And it's not because this is the shortest, easiest way to get your rack and pinion attached to your power steering pump. I mean, look at it. The shortest, easiest way is to go from here to here. See it? That's all you gotta do. There to there. You need $10 worth of parts to connect that sumbitch. No. They want to charge you $100 for this to keep it cool. We have gone so far backwards, it's not funny. We really have. And I pray one day we wake up and see that. I really do. But probably not. Okay, hi, we're back, and it looks like you guys might be smudged, maybe, or light reflection. I don't know. I'm not a professional, so at this point, what's the matter? Let's see. I don't know. Are you guys smudged? I can't tell. Or if it's just right. Yeah, that looks like it's just a light. Okay. Anyway, we got power steering pump on. We got power steering cooler on. Let's see here. Get you all light. Show you. See, cooler's on. Those two lines are on. And power steering pump's on. We'll spray that off with a little bit of brake clean before we get everything done. And those two lines coming off the pump are on. Now we got that big cooler line to do. But here's the thing. That big cooler line runs over top of these two lines right here, which are the transmission lines. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this video extra long, since you guys love extra long format. And we're going to do the transmission cooler lines before we finish up the power steering lines. Just because that's the logical thing to do. And yeah. So when they get here, we'll get started on that. Parts got delivered, but I don't think they gave me everything. Yeah, they didn't. Go fucking figure. Like, even the people at the parts store can't pay attention to what you're saying when you call in parts. Lines that come off the cooler itself, boop, right there, they're right there, and these lines here. So, I don't know. See how much blood we're going to lose out of this thing. I know. Let me look and see, because if those ones are what's leaking, then, because it's leaking back that way, but just change it all. You're here. Oh, let me have a gander underneath. Alright, so we got some come off juice, and we'll show you all what we're going to end up dealing with here. So, well, you could take the headlight out if you wanted to, but the lines go right there. I'll show you this way. See where the lines go right there? Boom. That's where they go to. Then they run down. I'm gonna grab my come off juice again. Get down here on the ground. Stick the light on the jack stand. And there you go. You guys can see what's leaking. But there's a block. Let's see if you guys can see. The block up there. So we don't have this line, which go to the transmission. We have the lines from the other side of the block on up. So we're gonna go ahead and change them, and then instead of dealing with these weekend warriors at the parts store, I'll call and deal with my weekly guy, because I told him I had everything from the transmission up to the cooler, and well, that's what they sent me. So, you know, it is what it is. And I don't know. I'm going to have to pull a drive shaft out so I have room to work there. And I don't know if that's something I'm going to do here, or if that's something that I'm going to take to work and put on a rack and do. I just don't know. I could have took this whole thing to work, put it on a rack and done it, but I wanted to make you guys some content. So, yeah, that's where we are. Alright, finally, progress. Ugh. Well, hey, but I hope y'all understand that while it sounds like I'm doing a lot of bitching, well, that's just kind of how things go, and I'm not being 100% serious about some of it. Some of it I am. Other parts of it, I'm just trying to make humor for myself to get through it, so I'm not raging and throwing stuff. If you want to do this type of stuff, you gotta have a lot of patience nowadays, and it's ridiculous. So anyway, we'll grab the selfie stick and show you all what we got now. Alrighty, well, alright, so there you guys see, yep, we had to take more stuff apart. Had to pull the headlight out. Could you ever imagine? And that'll probably be one of the last things I put back in is the headlight, because that actually gives me some room. I just didn't think to take the headlight out to access some of the other stuff, but honestly, looking at it now, and the only reason I took the headlight out, I'll see, let me grab a light and show you. Because I had the radiator loose, and I thought I could get to the bolt that's back here. Let's see if we can push that radiator forward. See that bolt right there between them lines? I thought I could get that out just by pushing it forward, but turns out, had to take the headlight out. This is the vent for the front axle, which will be one of the last things I hook up after I get that last power steering line on. But we got those trans-cooler lines on, down to there. And we're good down to what, somewhere around in there somewhere. I don't have them tight down there yet, because I gotta wait till tomorrow. I can still use these steel lines if I have to put it together, because nobody has the lines. So I gotta wait till tomorrow to call a dealership and see if I can't get these last 2 lines. But that doesn't mean that we just stop. I still got all this stuff apart, and those are get to those underneath. So now we get to start putting the top end of this thing back together. Get that last power steering line on that's just silly and nonsense. So we'll get that back up in there, and then we'll get the majority of the front of this thing back together. Making progress. Finally. Alright. Update, y'all. We took a break yesterday. I had to work yesterday, but we took a break from working in the Road Glide Indy garage. The night before that, I slept wrong and put a kink in my neck like you wouldn't believe. It still hurts a little bit, but we'll get the cap on the Coke. We gotta get this thing done. Now, here's the story. Sit down for a second here. Y'all know we're changing power steering lines, which we got all the power steering lines on. And while we were in there, had all this stuff apart, transmission cooler lines are leaking, so we was going to change him as well. We got them changed from the cooler down to the bypass manifold, whatever they want to call it. It's just a block. It's just bypass it. Don't bypass shit. You can hook 2 lines to get yeah. Anyway, the lines that come off transmission are not available by themselves. You have to get the lines that come off the transmission without, get this, you don't get the bypass manifold block. But you can't buy the hard lines without buying the rubber lines. What sense does that make? And the parts store doesn't list them. The dealership wants way too dang much money for them, even with me getting a significant cost cut. They're almost $300. Like our cost, if we were buying them where I work at, if we were buying them, they're almost $300. So I came home and I got on the interwebs and I found a place that kind of makes lines for. That's just kind of what they do. $200, but same thing. You have to buy the rubber ones too. So, and unfortunately, those ones are already opened and put on the vehicle, which I may try to do something. Take some packaging out here, and when the rubber lines come in, I may try to get them returned and just return the new ones out of the package to get a little bit of money back. It's not much. If so, it is what it is. But I mean, that's the type of stuff that we as mechanics deal with, and that's the whole point of this video, honestly. I know it's been lengthy, but the whole point of this video is for you guys who complain about how much shops cost and stuff like that. Well, it's not a perfect world, and this is what mechanics go through on a day-to-day basis. Now, somebody that works on Jeeps, Liberties, or whatever for a living, and that's all they do in a dealership setting, they would probably know shortcuts and ins and outs of all this stuff. I work on a little bit of everything. More so Class 8 semi-trucks that go down the road. That's my specialty. That's my cup of tea. I will work on vehicles from time to time. I don't enjoy it because everything's so small. It's my dad's. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. If it was my wife's vehicle, it'd be going to the scrapyard. That's all there is to it. I don't prefer to mess with this type of stuff. It used to be fun years ago, but now it's not. But then again, I can't say that I haven't had fun, because I have had fun. The wife's been down here for a little bit from time to time, BSing with me and checking stuff out and seeing what I go through on a day-to-day basis. So we're going to get the serpentine belt back on. We got all lines and everything on tight what we can. And my dad needs Jeep back. The lines were leaking beforehand, and he was driving it. His big thing was power steering lines. I guess he's had problems with transmission lines for a while, but didn't have the money to pay somebody because they wanted a bunch of money to put them on. So we got part of that squared away for him. We'll make sure all the fluids and everything are full. We're going to get the belt back on, and then we're going to put the radiator hoses on. But when we put the upper radiator hose on, there's a tool for the constant torque clamps, the little spring clamps that people hate and they throw away. We're going to do a little section in this video talking about those, and we may even turn part of that into a YouTube short. I do not know. We will see how that goes. And yeah, but we're going to try to get the Jeep done tonight, get it out of here, because we need to get our camper cleared off, get our bike washed, get the camper cleaned up, because Friday we leave for a camping trip. I bring the wife back Sunday, drop her off. I'll have my Saddlemen bag. Right? Is that what it is? My Saddlemen bag? I think it's Saddlemen bag. Yeah, it's Saddlemen bag. The big BR 4100 or whatever. I'll have it, tent, and all that stuff. Load up, switch out, and I'll be on the road to Georgia. And then from Georgia, possibly New Hampshire. I don't know. We'll see. But let's get this done first. Alright, folks. So here we go. The dreaded constant torque hose clamps that everybody hates. I'm different. I kind of like them. They serve a purpose. Most places that you'll find them is on plastic necks, because people tend to have, when you get the ratchet clamps, you can tighten them down too tight and crack the neck. So these are idiot proof. Most people fight with a pair of slip joint pliers, something like this. Personally, this is the only pair of slip joint pliers that I own. I don't like them. Knipex is way better, and you can actually buy them at Menards. They're made in Germany, and the Germans make some pretty damn good tools. Just look at steel chainsaws. But that's not what this is about. So, they make several different variations of this tool. And I will say that if you're going to be dealing with a lot of these, you need to buy a good one. This is a good one. It only cost me about $40. I've had this for probably 15 years. This is a Cornwell branded one. It's the same thing as a Astro. In fact, you guys can see the part number right there. That's actually an Astro part number, and they were just kind enough to put Cornwell's name on it. The Astros come in blue, but you have a tooth here and a tooth here. That's what'll grab your clamp, which we're going to demonstrate. But the other thing I will say about these clamps, people say that when they reuse them, they leak. The reason why they leak when they reuse them is because they just put them on in a random place, which we're going to demonstrate here in a minute. You have to put it on in the exact place that it came off. So we have my lovely camera lady out here, and we're going to get her to bring the camera over here, please. Now, if you guys can see, raise it up a little bit. Right here, the indentations in the hose. That is the clamp. Now we're going to demonstrate how to put it back on properly. See the grabbers? The jaws? Get them on there. Now watch this. We'll squeeze the tool. Right? It'll take a little bit of effort. It locks. So now, if you're in a real tight place, you got both hands. Wiggle the clamp. Don't try to hold the tool here and wiggle it on. Wiggle it on with the clamp. So I like to hold this, get a little more out of it, and get it up and over. It can be a little tight, but once you get over, you're alright. Now, that hose clamp goes right about there. Now, if the camera lady will back up a minute, there's a release right here. You release it and let it go on. And let me get my head in there for a second and see, because we want to be spot on. Okay, if you guys can see this white line right here, we need to roll it this way just a hair. So we're going to put the tool back on it. Same exact spot it was at whenever I took it off, so it won't leak. You don't have to worry about that. So, in essence, what are we trying to say? There is always a right tool for the job. So, if you get the right tool for the job, which probably if I'd had right tools for this job, there wouldn't have been so much bitching. But when it comes to those clamps, there's a $40 tool. Be leery of the cheap Harbor Freight ones and Amazon ones. Buy a good one. And that's it. It's that simple. These things are awesome. I love it. It is probably, believe it or not, one of my favorite tools. And I can't tell you how many times guys in the shops that I work at are fighting with these things. And I say, hey, do you want me to show you how to do that? And then I show them this and they're like, are you serious? Like, yeah, I'm serious. So, buy the right tool for the job. That's on, that's full. We gotta fill that up. Air cleaner's on. All this is back together. The coolant's full. Ain't nothing left really to do but to top some fluids off. And we're gonna put the lightning cube in this thing and fire it up and see what happens. So, yeah, let's grab that. Let me get some fluid in this power steering pump reservoir, and then we'll fire it up and do the bleed process and probably choke ourselves out because the AC's on. We don't want to open the door. Lightning cube's in. Double check this fluid level right here. Yep, that's full. We got to start up to do the transmission, which we probably only lost half a quart. But well, let's go ahead and bleed the air out of this power steering situation, shall we? So it's real simple. With the vehicle jacked up, At least this is the way it works on big trucks, and I do it the same way on cars. With the vehicle jacked up in the air, still sitting on jack stands, start up, turn the wheels all the way to the left, turn the wheels all the way to the right, all the way to the left, all the way to the right. And just repeat that process until it feels smooth. Then you can put it on the ground. What we got, oh, there's the key. Fire in the hole. Because it's run some, and the pump has had time to circulate the fluid through the lines in the cooler. But before we do that, we're going to grab a light and double check and make sure that that transmission line that is bad isn't leaking too bad. Oh. That's a no-go. That's what happens. Blew that line. Sure did. Fudge. Oh. Bad news. The other lines blew out, which that is why you change them all. Because you end up getting good lines, and then the weak point in the other lines shows its face. So now we wait. I don't want to call him and tell him this. I do not want to call him and tell him this. Alright, y'all. We called the customer. I don't know what's going on with the vehicle. And surprisingly, they took the news well. So, not that big of a deal. But we'll show y'all what's going on here. You can see we got a little bit of drippage action. And we got a lot of, leakage. She's got a steady stream coming out of her. Made a mess of my freshly pressure washed floor. So, I don't know. Should we put that on the bill? So, what we're going to have to do is, put a tourniquet around it to, keep it from bleeding all over the floor for right now. So I'm going to do that, and then whenever we get that set of lines, we'll try to formulate a way to get you guys to where you can see that, and hopefully I can get this mess cleaned up so I'm not laying in it. Alright, let me get this rolled up. That was for something else for the light. I had to cut some boards, make a divider for the bird cage. And separate birds, they were fighting. So, anyway, we got the new lines right here, which we already replaced these ones. So we're not changing these again. We'll disconnect them here, and we'll change everything from here back. And it sucks because you can pay and buy these and buy the lines to the cooler, but you can't buy from this bypass manifold up. So that kind of sucks. And I don't know, we'll see if we can't get you guys a view under there and try. But I need to go in there and see what we can't get done. I need this thing out of here like yesterday. Let me see, we're probably going to have to pull the 4-wheel drive shaft down out of the way so we got room to get up there alongside the transmission. But let me check it out, and when something important arises, I'll bring y'all back in. Alright folks, so day 320 of the Jeep Liberty nightmare, which whoever the mechanic was that, did the deed with the engineer's wife, I hope it was worth it, bud, because you in turn all of us, if you know what I'm saying, which you did. Anyway, we got pulled drive shaft out, 4-wheel drive shaft out, and I tried to do that yesterday, but I don't have the quality of tools here at the house that I have at work, so I had to delay another day so I could bring home some FDX sockets to get the bolts loose. Okay, now I gotta get the drive shaft out. Once I get I had to take the O2 sensor out so I can get the drive shaft out. And once I get the drive shaft out, I have to hope and pray that I can get to the lines. So maybe when we get there, we'll try to take you guys underneath and see if we can't figure out together how we're going to go about getting these lines out of the side of the transmission. I hope I don't need a disconnect tool. Alright. For all you Harbor Freight lovers, here's another one. Harbor Freight 8mm socket. 8mm head bolt. See the slop? Snap-on FDX sockets. Put it on there. No slop at all. If any, very, very minimal. Okay? For professionals, we have to spend the money when we do it for a living. We have to spend the money. Otherwise, you try that socket there to break a bolt loose that's tight, you're rounding it off. That's not fun. Use the right tool for the job. Alright, so the verdict's in. Like I said, drive shaft and everything's out. I can get to the lines, but it's not good. So let's see if we can't show y'all and explain what you may need to do if you're watching this video thus far through. Oh wow. And if you are watching this video this far through, thank you, but you're in for a world of hurt on this deal. I can tell you that right now. Oh my. Hold on. Alright, so. Bob! There he is. Alright. So. We had to pull the drive shaft out because the drive shaft goes right through here. And the O2 sensor goes right here. So. All that was in the way. This was in the way of getting the drive shaft out. Drive shaft's in the way of getting these lines out. But, you see how rusty this line right here is? So, you can't pop that clip out. And when I cut it and screw this fitting out with a socket and get it on the workbench, spray it down with some penetrating oil and stuff, that clip's probably not going to be any good. But we'll see. And then you have the clip up here. You guys probably can't see. We'll see if we can't get you to see. But right here, there's a clip. Usually you just take a pick. I like to use the 90-degree picks. Take a pick, pull it out, and then you can pop that line off. And then we have to change of course, this line, and the bypass, which is silly. Just silly. Downright silly. So I'm going to have to unscrew the lines that I put on already on the other side. Yep, those ones there that I put on. I'll unscrew them. I'll cut this bullshit out of here and probably make a mess of my floor again. But we gotta do what we gotta do, and we gotta get this sumbuck out of here. It's that simple. It's been here too long. But I'm probably gonna have to try to find a fitting, which is gonna be interesting. So, yeah. Never again. That's all I can say. You guys will not see this vehicle on dicking around the garage anymore. Won't do it. Fuck Jeep. That simple. Here's the bottom one that's all rusted up. Let's see what I do with them. I know I have them here somewhere. I just had this some bitches. There they are. So this clip right here is what holds it in. But you guys see all the rust build up. Well, I gotta try to do something about that, see if we can't save it. We might be able to. It might not be as bad as I thought. It's worth it, a smaller brush somewhere. And I just, it's probably on that table over there. This will work, man. Yeah. Get that rust out there. Get that rust out of there. So far, this stuff here, and it was a free bottle, but this stuff here has worked wonders for me on just about everything I've used it on. And I know it looks like I'm using a lot, but I'm not. It does not take much. Definitely a good product by AMSOIL. So let's see if we can't scrape some of this out of here. Get some of that rust broke out there. It is heavy. Yep. Okay, we got her. We got her. No, I don't think you guys will be able to see very well. We'll try. We'll try. Yeah. Spray some more of this up there. I've had this can for over a year. Loosen that. Usually just a pick will pop them out of there. But we're dealing with a good amount of rust on this one, so we'll see what happens. Same clips that were on the upper side there. Wow, yeah, that is definitely in there. I'll just work it a little bit, I guess. No hammers on this one, Road Reality. At least not yet, bud. It may be coming to that. That side popped. Alright, so good. The clip's good. That's the important part. The clip didn't rot out on us. Now let's see what we can do about getting this out of there. Boom! Just like that. See, it's out. Maybe things are starting to turn around a little bit. Now, I'm going to find something to clean that rust up in there. So the new line, hold on. See, goes in. But I want it to go in and actually not have all that crap on it. So, let me figure out what I'm going to do about cleaning that up. And we'll get the other one out, and hopefully we'll be able to show you guys the completed, finished product. We got her cleaned up. So, here's her line. It'll go in. Ka-chow. Just like that. And these don't have earrings on them. They are just like a machine fit. And well, now we gotta try to get this back in there. Maybe. That's the hardest part about these things. Getting that little bastard back in there. Loop that one jumped in too soon. and a screwdriver. There it is. That's in there. So yep, that's gonna go like that. So then this is gonna go in there and pop in. See? That ain't going anywhere. That ain't going anywhere at all. So, can you guys see? Yeah. If you look right here and maybe right here, it locks in. Ain't gonna come out. They put these plastic things on here just as a retainer. One line came with it, one line didn't. So let me curl under here. I need to get these two lines back off. I got all this off. I just need to get these two lines back off and pop this thing off here, and then we can pop this clip back in where it goes and pop these lines on, and we should be filling her up with some fluid here soon. Alright guys, more good, fantastic news. Well, I got the lines on. We don't have the drive shaft back in yet, but that's the least of our worries. We have got transmission fluid leaking up here now. Again, and it's not the lines. I've already checked that. The only thing it can be is the cooler. But I'm not feeling any wetness here. So we're going to have to take all this stuff back off, pop the radiator out, order a cooler because it's coming out this corner right here, which, joy. So this video is probably going to be like 14 hours long. I apologize for that. I'll try to do my best. We'll make it a 2-part series if we have to. But this is real life shit, okay? This is what happens. All shops aren't trying to rip you off. And once we get this thing fixed and we have the bills and everything, clarify something for you guys right now. This is my dad's vehicle. I'm not charging him a dime. Parts and stuff, he's paid for the majority of them. I've bought some where we work stuff out. So that's pretty much a wash. But at the very end of this, when I do get this thing fixed and I have a total on parts and all that stuff, I'll be able to take the time, kick that out of my way, I'll be able to take the time and show you guys what customers think shops are billing them and how they're billing them versus how most shops and some other shops I've worked at over the years have done things, and the way that if I was billing someone I would do things, just because I think it's more fair that way. So yeah, we'll put that out there and we'll save that for the end of the video. We'll draw some totals up and all that stuff, probably while this thing's just sitting idle, because we do have to get it up to temperature, which I'll show you guys that once we get the leaks and everything fixed. You'll see how to check the fluid in this thing. I know there's probably all sorts of wrong information out there from just your average DIY guy, and everybody knows a shortcut and a better way. But here, we show you guys the right way and the correct way to do things. So, I'm going to get the antifreeze drain out of this thing because I got to tear all that stuff back apart. And I'm not even going to film that. We're just going to tear it apart. See if we can't see what's wet. Something's wet. Something's leaking. And I can't figure out what. The only thing I can think of is that cooler. So, that's where we are, folks. See? Alright, so she's all back together. We don't have any leaks. But this particular model manufacturers, several manufacturers and engineers in all their infinite wisdom decided, hey, you know what? Let's not put a blood stick in for the transmission anymore. You used to be able to just check it yourself. Well, they're trying to bend you over and give it to you is what they're doing. But as always, the aftermarket world has your back. Okay? So if you guys look up here, here's your dipstick tube, right? Now, the sensible thing to do would be for the manufacturer just to put a dipstick in there, but they don't. So you can go to your parts store and buy one of these. It's a Dorman. And the way they want you to check it now is solely based off the temperature and chart reading. So you have a chart, you look up the year, manufacturer, make and model of your vehicle, and then it'll tell you what chart, which we need chart B. Here is your temperature, and this will tell you what number it should be on your blood stick that you bought aftermarket, which is just asinine, totally stupid. Probably one of the, if not the stupidest fucking thing I have seen auto manufacturers do. Now we're going to spin it. And we're going to see what number we're on. Let's see, there we go. Okay. We are on about 35, right? That's the level number. So if you're on 35, we're going to read the middle because they give you a low, safe, and maximum fill line. We're on about 35, so right about here. So our temp needs to be about 130. Now, you need something like this. So what I'm going to do is shoot the pan, see what the temp is. I'm also going to shoot my cooler lines and see what the temp is. If I can stand my sheet. We're 160 on the pan, we're 180 at the feed on the cooler line, your feed line. So that tells me we need to add a little bit of fluid, right? So we said we were at 35. 35 calls for about 130. We are, temperature-wise, we're actually more so, we're going to shoot in the middle. Because we're 160 on the pan, we're about 180, 185 here. So we're going to go 170. See where the level should be at 170. At 170, the level should be about 45. So we're going to dump another quart in. Oh, I can find my funnel. It's out here. They take all the good, easy stuff away from us. It's ridiculous. They want you to take it back to them so they can bullshit you and charge you a whole bunch of fucking money for nothing. And what I'm doing there, folks, is I'm getting an average temperature from the cooler to the transmission. Get an average so you can be a little more accurate with your fluid level. Still a crock of shit. And I don't think these sticks cost that much money. I mean, still cheaper than taking it to a freaking dealer. So I said we're shooting for 170. So we want to be about 45 on the line. Alright, so we were at 30, now we're at about 40. So what we going to do? Yep, you guessed it. We're going to put more Dracula blood in it. Remember the good old days? You just had a stick that said full pot, add a quart. Usually add a quart was full when it was cold. But you could do things more easily. We all just need to go back and buy 1980s model vehicles, fix them up, get rid of all the newer shit that we have, and tell them all to fuck off. I can tell you right now, pickup truck I had, if it wasn't for me having a wife and kids, if it wasn't for me having kids, I wouldn't have that truck. The only reason I have that truck is because I want my wife and kids in something nice. Otherwise, I had a 1984 Chevy pickup truck, and if it was just me and the wife with no kids, that's what our asses would be driving around. Be passing everything up at gas stations. which I wouldn't have a problem with. She's right there on that 45 mark. So now we're gonna put the cap back on her. And that's where we want her. We don't want her too low, because then you can end up burning up components, clutches, and stuff like that inside the transmission. So we don't want to run too low of a fluid level. But if you're doing this, your chart will tell you, like, I started the temperature, I just went with the lowest on the mid. The lowest temperature reading they give you is about 65 degrees, but they don't really give you a chart reading over here. So I went 70 degrees. It's about an 80 degree day. So room temp, right? Well, room temp, you need to be right around 15, 20, which we were. So I started up and let it run for a bit, and then I need to add some. I took it for a test ride after that, come back and checked it. So now 170, boom, 45. See how it works? That's what we did. So we're gonna make a bill, and we'll show you guys how we do that and discuss that topic, and wipe some handprints off of this thing, get it back to the customer. Alright? Power steering lines, transmission cooler lines. It's a pain in the neck. And for all the work that I just did to this thing, you guys are going to be shocked when you see Road Glide Andy's prices versus what independent shops could charge, or even the dealership. So let's get this out of the way and we'll get to that. Alright, let's see here. We need a pen. Maybe this one will work. Alright, so, matter at hand. Pricing, invoices, and let's just call this section. We'll post this at the end of the Jeep line video, which is like a 3-hour long video, but we'll also, later on down the road, we'll just upload this video on its own. Alright, so let's talk about it. What did we do? We replaced, first of all, we replaced power steering lines. And we did them all. Second thing we did was transmission cooler lines. Alright, so now I know what my labor is going to be, but this is how shops, dealers, and really people do it. Me, I just do $60 an hour. That's more than fair. It's $1 a minute. You're not going to find anybody else cheaper to do it. So you come on Google, got it, yep, Jeep Liberty, power steering line, if I can spell correctly. Labor for replacement. Alright, 2 to 4 hours is what Google says for the power steering lines. 2 to 4 hours. Alright, now I've already looked for the transmission lines. Transmission lines are 4 to 8 hours. Alright, now here's how this is going to work. Your dealership is going to charge you the 4 hours for the power steering lines. That's going to be your dealer price. Alright? Your dealer is going to charge you 8 hours for the transmission lines. Okay? Your independent shop, if they do book times and don't just do price per hour and however many hours they have, and then they end up fucking you. Yeah. So usually a good independent shop is going to do the low side. They're going to charge you the 4 and the 2 if they did both of them. So they're going to charge you 6 hours. Alright? Now, most shops $100 an hour, so you're looking at about $600 labor. Whereas if you take it to the dealer, you're looking at $1,200 labor for replacing the transmission and power steering lines. That's just labor. Okay? Now, myself, $60 an hour. Realistically, if it wasn't for all the videoing and recording, even with the problems that I had, 4-hour job. Okay? So, this is the Road Glide Andy garage. We're charging 4 hours labor at $60 an hour. Right? So, that's $240. Alright? I made money. $240. I'm here. I'm at the house. Now I understand other shops, they have more overhead and things of that nature. And you have to keep that in mind too. They're paying employees. I'm not. So let's dive into parts. Here we have a transmission line which cost me $124.40. $124.40 is what that line cost me. Then we have another one that cost me $63.31. Okay? Now, independent shops, here's where they rip you off. They pay the same thing that I paid for it. There's also a list price that's listed on here. I'm not going to show you this because this has got my personal information and all that stuff on it. We're not sharing that with you. So, the list price is $220.99 for the one. The list price for the other one is $113.09. Now, I know for a fact that you as the customer can walk into the same parts store that I bought those parts from, and you can buy them for more than $124.40 and more than $63.31, but you're not a commercial account. And also, you can pay less than $220.99 and $113.07 or $113.09, whatever that is. $113.09. You'll pay less than the list price that shop is charging you. Why do shops do that? Because that shop has somebody, be it the mechanic or somebody that they pay, that has to call and source them parts. So therefore, their way of charging or making up for that and sourcing the parts is that $124.40. They charge you that $220.99. Not only are you paying for a part, but you're paying for a service because you're not paying labor time for them sourcing the parts. That's their way of hiding the labor time and getting paid. Do I agree with it? No, I do not. So This is the way I was taught how to do it many, many years ago. Okay? So the one line, it cost me $124.40, right? I'm going to mark that up 12%. I could actually mark that up a little more than 12%. Let's mark that up 30%. How does that sound? Some of this go for it. $37.32 is my markup. Okay, so now we're going to add $124.40. I'm going to charge $161.72 for that part. Okay, $161.72. That's what I'm charging for it because I had to source it, right? I have to make money on it. I've got money tied up on my account. Hold on. Hello. Sorry about that, folks. That's another customer calling. Got a job to do. So, it's actually my wife calling. Something's wrong with my truck. Hi.
Yeah, are you there?
Just call me when you're on your way home.
Alright, what's wrong?
Nothing.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay.
Alright.
Because Sissy wanted me to, she said,
Yeah, just call me when you're on your way home.
Alright.
Alright, love you, bye.
Promise soon, okay?
Alright, bye.
Bye.
Something's wrong with my truck. My wife broke my truck. So, I gotta fix that. Alright, now the other line we paid $63.31 for. We're gonna mark that up 30%. So the markup on that is $18.99. So we're going to add 63.31. That line is going to cost them $82.30. Okay? Am I getting rich off of parts? No, I am not. I'm not trying to get rich off of parts. I'm not trying to get rich off paper or off of labor. I'm trying to be honest in what I'm doing and fair, because you cannot walk in the parts store and buy that part for that much money. You'll pay more money than that for it. At the same time, you can't go somewhere else to another shop and pay that much either. See what I'm saying? And I'm still making money off of it. I'm not making a bunch of money off of it. So that's how I was taught how to do it. Make a little bit of money off of it because you don't have a whole lot wrapped up in it. There's some things where, yeah, you do have a lot wrapped up into it, and charge accordingly for that. Now, I have another set of lines that I got off of Rock Auto, right? And I can't do nothing about it. I paid $189 for them. Alright? So we're going to mark those up 30%. Yes, they can buy them off of Rock Auto themselves. It's the only place I could find to get them. But I still had to use my card, pay for it, and all that stuff, and have my money tied up in it. So I have to make something. So that's where it's going to get a little shaky. Not even shaky, it's still fair. So that line's going to cost them $245.70, which is kind of a bit of a mistake. $245.70. Alright, so here's the Scoopio. This is where it gets fun. These two lines right here came with the lines that I got from Rock Auto. These two lines here I also bought from the parts store. I already had them installed on the vehicle. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to take these two lines, we're going to put them back in the thing that we got them from the parts store, and we're going to take them back and get our money back. So guess what? The customer doesn't have to pay for. Let's see what lines those are. Those lines are the 124.40 lines. So the 160, 172, they don't have to pay me for. Okay? Now, what other shops are going to do when they run into a situation like that is they're going to take these back, they're going to put them on their shelf, they're going to save them for a rainy day. They're still going to charge you for them, but at the same time, they're going to have them charge somebody else for them. Yeah, so they're going to make double the money off of those, right? Now, I'm at $245.70 for one sale lines, $82.30 for the other sale lines. It's stupid the way that vehicle was set up. We're going to charge 4 hours labor because realistically, that's about all it takes. Customers supply their own fluids and everything, so we're going to charge 4 hours labor. That's fair. 4 hours labor, $60 an hour, is $240, right? So now we're going to take $240 plus $82.30 plus $245.70 yeah, that's not right. $568, right? Now I paid $189. So do I take that off? Maybe. Let's take that off just for giggles. And then I paid $63.31. So after I paid for the parts and stuff, my money was tied up in, right? I made $315.69. So it's not a lot of money. Versus if you go to a shop, they're going to charge you. Oh wait, I forgot to put what my total bill was on here. $240 plus 245.7 plus 82.30. Alright, it's $568. But that's not total profit to me. Because again, I have to pay for these lines, right? So minus 189 minus 63.31. So 315.69 is realistically my profit. Okay? Their bill is $568 with me. Now, let's go to the dealership side of things. Alright? I can tell you the one line that I had to buy, which would be that complete line from the dealership, was $400. Okay? So, the dealership is going to charge it. Let's do it this way. Dealer. It's $400 for this set of lines with the hard lines that go to transmission from the dealer. Now, just for shits and giggles, we're going to use this for the other one, and we're going to use the list price of $113.09 because that's what the dealer is going to charge you. Alright, customer provided the power steering line, so I don't have any way to do that. But we're just going to base this off of the transmission cooler lines. And they're going to charge you the full 8 hours labor. Alright. Now, the others around here are about $120 an hour. Yeah. So, let's do the math on that. $960. So your labor, $960. Right? Oh, I forgot too, on mine I had half can brake clean wrapped up in it. I'm not worried about it. I could put shop supplies on there. Some shops do that. But at the same time, some shops put shop supplies, but they also charge you for penetrating oil, brake clean, and all that stuff. If you're charging a shop supply fee of like 3 or 4%, which is pretty average, then you shouldn't be billing for penetrant oil or brake clean, brake fluid and stuff like that. I could see, but at the same time, don't bill somebody for a whole bottle of brake fluid when you only used about that much out of it. Average how much that bottle cost you. You know what I mean? So, dealership, your $960 labor, your $400 for the lines, plus $113, your $513.09, plus $960 for the labor. That comes up to 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. $1,473.09 at the dealership because of the way they do things. Now, keep in mind, the dealership has lifts, which I don't have. The dealership has a nice fancy lounge with a TV that you can sit and wait on your vehicle and watch the TV, and they're paying for cable, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to give you their Wi-Fi password. Not only that, but the dealership has to pay a technician. The dealership has to pay a parts person. And the dealership also has to pay a service advisor. There's 3 people that the dealership has to pay for working on your vehicle. 3 people. Okay? And they have overhead. They gotta pay their light bill, their heat bill, and all that stuff. So, the dealerships have more people involved, so it's going to cost you more money. Alright? Now, independent shop. What do we say? Alright, so independent shop is going to charge you 6 hours labor at $100 an hour. Now, an independent shop probably would have done the same thing I did. Bought the lines offline because they're not going to pay $400 to get them from a dealership. That $400, yeah. So, they're going to charge you 6 hours labor. And then for the one line, they're going to charge you the $113.09. So you're going to have $600 in labor. And then, what was the other line? $189 So I can tell you from experience in the shop that I work at, and I'm not proud of it, but I can't control it, and I have to pay my bills. They're going to, that line they paid for that cost them $189, they're going to charge you about $289. So you got $289 plus your labor, 8, 8, 9, then 113, 09 for the other line, 9, 10, 11, 12, 2, 1, 9, 0, 1, 9, 10. Alright, now here's the other thing they're going to do. They're going to charge you for brake clean. I used half a can. Guess what? They're going to charge you a whole can. That's going to be $8. 9, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1. So, independent shop, that job's going to cost you $1,010.09. You're going to save yourself about $400. Or, if you just find a guy who likes to dick around with things, you're going to save yourself a whole bunch of money. So, in essence, what I'm saying is everything that shops are charging you justified? No. Are there some shops out there who will use one can of brake clean and charge you for 2? Yes. There's shady shops. There is. And it sucks. But beware of being ripped off. Do your research. If you're going to an independent shop and they're charging you this much for the parts, then you price the parts yourself and you tell them, I can get the parts myself for this much. Why are you charging that much? Don't let them beat you up, guys. Don't do it. It's not fair. Let this be a message and make a stand, folks. Get back to fair pricing. It's that simple. Get back to being fair and treating each other right. It's that simple. So, we're going to get that delivered back as soon as the wife gets back. And we'll have a happy customer and a return customer. I've already got, they want their other Jeep, some work done to it. So we'll have it up here. You get repeat business. Whereas if you go for the big money off of everybody, they're not going to come back. Okay? Be fair. Be kind. Be honest. Okay? You don't have to try to get rich off of one job. It takes time. So, thanks for watching. If you guys watched this entire lengthy, bitchy video, thank you very much. And for those of you who are just watching the pricing portion, go check out what I just did to this Jeep, because it was a freaking nightmare. And like I said, only charging 4 hours. So anyway, hit that like button, share this video with your friends, get the word out there that shops need to be fair with you, the customer, and subscribe to the channel. We'll see y'all later. Go deck around your garage, shed, driveway, whatever you have.